are very sociable creatures. We enjoy being with other people. A large part of our lives is spent learning, working, and playing in the company of others. And each of us is a very special person, with our own particular likes and dislikes, our own ideas and ways of doing things. Some of us waste a great deal of time fighting and arguing with each other. Because we're so very individual, we want things to go our own way. And sometimes we pay no attention to what others have to say. Whether we're working together on a school play or some other activity, we must learn to get along with other individuals in order that everyone is as comfortable and at ease as possible. If all of us were alike in our thinking, there would be no problem. But we're not. Our world today, and even its very future, depends on people's willingness to cooperate and work together in a peaceful and friendly way. One important answer is manners. Manners are just simple ways of doing things that make life easier, friendlier, and more comfortable for everyone. Manners are the small but important rules of living together peacefully, just as laws are the big important rules of living together peacefully. If you've always thought that manners were just a lot of don'ts, or a great many hard-to-remember rules without much real meaning, you've been wrong. Good manners are a habit you never have to think much about, and which you never forget. But you will have trouble with your manners if you have what some people have, 2 sets of manners, one for company and the other for every day. Having 2 sets of manners is a most uncomfortable feeling, because you're never quite sure when and with whom you should use each set. If you're one of those people who saves up an extra special set of good manners, which you only use for your grandmother, your teacher, the doctor, minister, or your grown-up friends, then you've got troubles. Trying to remember those careful company manners at the right time can make you feel very insecure. Your company manners, the ones you hardly ever use, are liable to be as creaky and stiff as your muscles are after the first day of swimming in the summer, or the opening of football practice in the fall. Company manners don't really fool anyone. They're phony and rather like lies. Good manners make everyone comfortable, but phony manners only annoy others. You don't need 2 sets of manners. What you do need is one good, simple way of doing things that works well with everyone you meet, whether it's an elderly person or your friends and classmates or total strangers. You don't have to try to figure out what good manners are. There are many books on the subject, and you can learn by observing how others act. Over the years, people have figured out the best ways of handling just about every kind of social situation. Once the only social group who prided themselves on their fine manners and speech were the rich and powerful. Indeed, a fine manner sometimes became more important than a person's character. Even dishonest and unpleasant people were accepted as ladies and gentlemen and treated with courtesy merely because they dressed well and showed fine manners. Today, we know that all people should have manners. We also know that all people, young and old, rich and poor, and regardless of their race or color, deserve to be treated with fairness, courtesy, and respect. We understand the practical reasons that make good manners important in our lives. We know that courtesy and politeness are not qualities we put on to show others how wonderful or how well educated we are, but rather how much we respect them and how much we want their courtesy and respect for ourselves. Good manners begin with goodwill, respect, kindness, and plenty of thoughtfulness to glue it all together. There's only one rule to remember, known as the Golden Rule, and it is, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. This simply means treat others the same way you would like to be treated. The very first good manners we learned were taught to us when we were too young to understand what manners were. Our mothers and fathers played the little please game with us, using a favorite toy or something bright that caught our eye. And soon we discovered that all we had to do was to say that magic word please, and we usually got what we wanted. A bit later, we learned the word thank you. We found out that thank you said, "I'm glad and grateful that you gave me this or did this for me. I want you to know how happy you have made me." Other words, such as "I'm sorry" and "excuse me," expressed our consideration for those around us when we had made a mistake or had done something wrong. These words sincerely showed that we realized and admitted we had been wrong, and that we would like to make things all right again. Shaking hands was one of the earliest habits of good manners we learned. In our society, the handshake has many important meanings, and a history that goes back thousands of years. In ancient times, any stranger could be an enemy. Men went about with weapons in their hands, always ready to fight if necessary. To put aside the weapon and show an empty fighting hand was a sign of mutual trust. To grasp the empty fighting hand of another man with your own was a pledge of trust and friendship. Today we shake hands when meeting people or greeting old friends. We grasp the other person's hand firmly but gently and shake it 2 or 3 times. This handshake still has much of the ancient meaning. It still means, "I greet you in peace and with trust." We also use a handshake to seal a bargain, and in this case the shaking of hands is not only a sign of trust, but a promise that is a pledge of our word of honor and a sign of respect for the other person. The closed fist is a threat and the sign of a fight, whereas the handshake signifies the ending of a fight or a disagreement. In the boxing ring, fighters shake hands before the match to show that their fight is for sport and not in anger or to settle a quarrel. So you see, little by little, as we grow older, we learn the important rules of manners in getting along with others, and we learn that these rules apply throughout our lives. There's very little that we do which cannot be done better and more easily with the help of good manners. If you've ever wondered why people try to teach you good manners, the answer might be that they're trying to make you a gentleman or a lady. And if you found that learning all the rules was difficult and hard to understand, you might have gotten annoyed with the whole idea of being a lady or a gentleman. If you picture in your mind that a gentleman is a square, or a dull, uninteresting person, the kind of man you wouldn't want to be with, then you do not understand what a gentleman is. And if you ever thought that being a lady meant walking around with your eyes glued to the ground, speaking in a whisper, and afraid to say what you really think because you might be breaking some rule of manners, why then you've been wrong too. Real ladies and gentlemen are sure of themselves. They like people and have learned to get along with all kinds of people in all kinds of situations. They're involved in everything that's going on around them, in school, in neighborhoods, and communities. And they're not afraid to tackle anything because they know how to act, what to say, and how to work with others. Many of our customs of courtesy towards women and girls today come down to us from those times when women were more dependent upon the kindness and protection of men. Many boys wonder about this ladies first custom in a modern world where girls and women can usually take good care of themselves. The custom began as a necessity in an age when women were not so independent, and it's still practiced today as a mark of respect and thoughtfulness. Men are still the protectors and defenders of the home, And using good manners toward girls and women is simply practicing for the future adult role you will play in society. The girl of today uses her good manners for the role she will play in society in the future. Today's lady, no matter what her age, treats both men and boys with courtesy and respect. It has always been a woman's special talent to make people feel comfortable and relaxed. Good manners affect our lives wherever we come into contact with other people. It's good manners to present an attractive, well-groomed, neat appearance to the world. It's good manners to speak in a clear, warm voice, to look at the person we're speaking to, and to look at them as they speak to us. It's good manners to let them finish what they're saying before we speak again. Good manners are a big part of good sportsmanship and fair play. Learning and living by the rules of a game is a courtesy to all the players of both teams and to those watching the game. Knowing how to be a good loser as well as a good winner is a quality that earns us the respect and admiration of others. Good manners help us feel at home, no matter where we are or whom we are with. We can feel secure and comfortable with one person or with a crowd. We can relax and have a good time without feeling nervous or embarrassed because we aren't quite sure what to say or how to act. We don't have to act at all. Our good manners are a part of all of us, all the time, everywhere. How are your manners?